Hello. Hello, hello. Let me know if you can hear me. It is Friday, 4 p.m. Whoa. Don't want to hear myself as well. Almost got some feedback there. It seems like there's 1080p available. Great. My webcam isn't 1080p, so that's why it looks a bit blurry. But once I share my screen and stuff, it'll look better. All right. How's everybody doing? Anyone there yet? I am going to tweet about being live now, where people are gathering. I guess I can see YouTube is live. That's great. All right. I wanna use Restream Studio for the most part. All right. So, all right. Should I guess I should just drop the link to YouTube. What are we saying? I am live on YouTube, streaming, #Let's profile this week. Come and hang out to start the weekend with a. Anyway, come and hang out. Come and hang out. Come and say hi. Whoop. Drop the YouTube link. And I'm live. Let's see. We can put a red dot emoji. Anyone seeing this yet? Let me know. Say something in the chat. I don't like the red dot. Come and say hi. All right. Tweeting. Let's retweet. Retweet over here. Wait, I'm not signed in anymore? No. I guess I'll use my phone then. Is anyone there yet? I have no feedback whatsoever. So opening Twitter, the Twitters. All right. Retweet. I like. Ah, perfect. Alrighty. Cool. So today we want to look at some stuff, obviously, at some profiling stuff. Let's see what we can find. Let me get my screen down here, or not my screen, but my. There we go. All right, and then let's just share my screen so we can look at stuff already. Share this entire screen. Let's go. All right, perfect. That's still so wonky about like the new MacBooks, I guess. They aren't like perfectly 16:9 aspect ratio. Maybe, whoop, did I just start Docker? Damn it. I hate when the dock pops up. Stop it. Go away. Not now. Not right now, Docker. Thank you. All right. Maybe we can use this layout. Doesn't make it any better. This layout doesn't make it any better. And this like cuts it off. Yep. All right. We'll have some borders, I guess. Whatever. So let me know if you're there. We have Parka, and today we are actually going to use Parka almost exclusively. And for what it's worth, we are going to look at the development version of Parka. So we have like the demo instance running, which is just demo parka.dev, and as you can see, it's running like the V18 latest release, all nicely automated by some Argo CD and FluxCD stuff. Am I loud enough? I can just see that like I might not be loud enough. Also, there's no music. Let me add the music real quick. Background music. What do we want? I think the lo-fi one was great so far. Let's see if that starts happening in a sec. I can hear some music. You can hear music. All right, maybe I'll bring the microphone a bit closer to myself. Awesome. All right, anyway, so yeah, there's like the demo Parka dev version, and we are running always the latest release, and like all of this is fully automated by Argo CD in the background. So if you go to Argo CD here, you can see the entire thing, and like every time we publish something to GitHub, we merge something, essentially it'll update pretty I wouldn't say instantaneous, but pretty quickly. It updates the thing on our cluster. So Argo CD does like a bunch of reconciliation there. And that's always just the latest release. So if we cut like 0.18.1, obviously that is what's going to run. And then any other release, 18.2 would run, and 0.19 would also run. So that's that one. And then we have the Devil one, which not only runs the latest release and tag release, but this one always runs the latest master branch, basically. Like every time a new image is available, this is what's going to be run automatically as well. I have some leftover nice pour over from this morning. I made double the amount, so I can have some nice cold coffee while streaming with you lovely people. All right. That ice. Little ASMR session there. All right. Anyway, so we are running the Devil, this is what we're going to mostly focus on and be working with today. So there might be bugs here and there because it's like not a released version, but it's like literally the latest release on the main branch. Let's actually check out Parka here. Yeah, 8.9 EF9. So like coming back to Parka, that's exactly the SHA we're seeing here. So this is literally a build that was done in the last like 2 hours, and that's running. And also kind of a nice segue, because like Argo CD is like deploying all of this using a bunch of code in the background. Can actually look at the namespace and see what's up with Argo CD, and if we can find something here where things are happening, right? So yeah, seems like there's a bunch happening. So mostly it's Argo CD, and then like the obvious runtime, which like over here is like the garbage collection running asynchronously in Go. So we can mostly focus on the left-hand side, this like green area here. Each list chunk buffered. Yeah, these are smaller. There's like a gRPC server. What's it doing? What's that doing? Just generate manifest. Yeah, JSON encoding, etc. Is that another gRPC? Yeah, seems to be. Okay, that's like starting and doing the TLS stuff. But yeah, let's look at this one for a bit. So we can see there's like an application controller that's created by FluxCD, and then we can see it's like backing off. So just like if there's an error in the controller, I guess it would not instantly run it again, but it would like retry and like back off a bit every now and then if the error persists. So that's what we're seeing up here. And then it tries to compare the app state. So I suppose the way like FluxCD works, right? You have your actual cluster, your Kubernetes cluster, and the actual resources, objects, etc., like the actual state of the world. And then you have something in a Git repository which describes what the state of the world should be, right? So what like FluxCD does is probably compare the current state with the the state we want the thing to be in, the cluster to be in. So it does a lot of diffing. What's this, like diff normalized? Not sure exactly what this does, but this is like most of what I would say FluxCD is doing. And then we have some more things. So like looking at this, yeah, there's a lot of overhead just by doing JSON unmarshalling and marshalling, right? So like every time something like this pops in my mind, or I see something like this in profiles, for a bunch of applications, what I've done is like use the mail.ru JSON encoder. Yeah, easy JSON. So this is one that I do like. I don't know how applicable it is to be used in a Kubernetes setting where you still have a bunch of really more dynamic objects that you need to marshal and unmarshal. So it might not be a best fit, but like for one application that I had, like I could see something similar, right? Like where JSON unmarshalling and marshalling took huge amounts of CPU. So knowing that the objects are more constrained, using something like this, or I'm pretty sure there are like one or two other libraries that do this. It doesn't use reflection as much, but it actually generates based code, like Go code generated based on JSON that you say like this should be something that we can unmarshal, and then it does a lot less runtime overhead to unmarshal and marshal JSON. So that is something I do find an interesting option if you have the control a bit more over what's happening in the objects, right? So yeah, I think that might be a good option, but yeah, again, I'm not sure about the Kubernetes context here and like what type of objects this handles. But yeah, this diffing looks definitely interesting to look at. And is that what like the spike is all about? Yeah, I think so. The diffing here again, and then there seems to be an arrow. No, just listed some stuff in the Kubernetes cluster, I guess. Yeah, and it boils down to JSON taking most of the time again. I wonder I wonder how much CPU is spent in the world just doing JSON marshalling and unmarshalling, and like even to give it a smaller part of the world, like just inside of Kubernetes context, right? Must be a lot. Hey Samara, what's up? Afternoon coffee is ready. Iced coffee. No Marte this time around. But yeah, I think that might be interesting to look at. But then the other one that I found quite interesting, like all of these profiles that we looked at, those were coming from the Parker agent, and then we also have like pprof being scraped from some containers. So it's another namespace, I suppose. Yeah, this is what I mean with like This is running the latest release. Or did it just restart? No, something happened. So it's not the most stable Packer deployment we have, given it's like running the main branch. So I think, yeah, in the Flux system namespace, that's kind of interesting as well to look at. So let's give this a second, a minute or two to get some more profiles in again. I wonder if you can see it already. No, not yet. So this was like yeah, there we go. Now we can start seeing the thing I wanted to look at. Huge spike, right? All right, so let's check this one out. And pretty clearly we can see this right-hand side is super interesting. So clicking on the icicle graph here, I can drill down into this. And we can see that this just took like 250 milliseconds and was like 52% of the CPU spent in this profile was just this like go get clone function. So I think that's a really good candidate to check out, and like in just another minute or so you can see why that is, because like every minute it just spikes. I think that's a really interesting candidate to check out in today's stream. What's happening? We're here. Got some retweets. Yeah, if you want to, if you're on Twitters, feel free. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. Feel free to retweet. Get some more people on the stream here. All right, let's see what's happening here. Yep, there we go. Another spike, right? So when was this? This was like at 2:15:52, 2:15:52 here, and then this is at 2:17:2. So I guess there's like a slight offset by a couple of seconds between them, but like roughly every minute or so, I think this is when the clone happens. So I would say we just like look at all of this, and I think we can mostly ignore the controller runtime. Yeah, it's just like the reconciliation handler. So this is just like a function that gets a reconciliation request, and then yeah, every minute or so something inside of this says, okay, we need to clone, and we need to see what the Git repository that we are dealing with is up to. So if there's an update to this, so I would say we go to this repository and see what's happening in here. You can actually, that's quite neat. You can hold or press Shift, and then this like tooltip doesn't move anymore, right? So if I just do nothing, it moves with a mouse with a cursor, but if I hold down Shift, it actually stays in place, so I can interact with it. So by clicking on this function, I just copied this into my clipboard and then pasted it here, and all of a sudden I'm in the repository already. And then we want to look at the packages, the repository, and then git go git clone. Okay, so git go git clone. Yeah. Actually, this is like the client, and this is like the client Go file. Only here we are going into the clone.go file. So maybe not check out this clone Go file, but like let's look at this client Go file, right? Cool. More retweets. Thanks, Sumera, for the retweet. If you're still here. Now what? So we can see, let's just see what this does. Get servers that exclusively use the v2 wire protocol, such as Azure, DevOps, and AWS code commit require the capabilities multi-arc. Okay, I don't think that is important. Client implements the repository client. That would be interesting what it does, but I suspect, given we are dealing with like Flux and it like cloning Git repositories, I guess is just like some client to retrieve Git repositories, right? Probably not too crazy to assume. Then we have a path, repository, some authentication stuff, and then we create a new client down here. Nothing crazy. I do like this pattern where you have like these options, and then you can say with disk storage, with memory storage, etc., and it like iterates over all the like passed in client options, and then here it like actually applies those. So cool to see this pattern here. Yeah, here we can see the options, so we can pass these as like a variadic parameters into the new client. So we have all of these. Is the music too loud, by the way? I think it's pretty high, pretty loud. Turn it down a bit. In it, and then yeah, here's the interesting part, right? Like this is where we can see the client clone on line 249. So I don't know which version this is running, but maybe, yeah, this seems stable. 249 is the function here. So if there's something off, I would check the version of like the GoGit library being used, etc., so that we can actually look at the same code. But it seems stable enough right now, so we can just look at the main branch. We do validate the URL, so I guess this function down here, nothing too crazy, and I actually haven't seen this show up at all. No, it's also not this one. It should be down here, but yeah, it doesn't even show up in this profile, which is funny. Again, that can happen, right? Because the profiles are sampled, right? So if this is like super quick to validate the URL, we might just miss it. But then also we don't really care. All right, so Mara, you want metal on the stream? It would be an interesting experiment, I guess, because I do code usually while listening to metal, but I don't talk over it. So I think I don't know how that would actually work. But like, yeah, just listening to metal and then coding along, like that's like my daily thing. I don't know how that would work in a streaming context. Plus, how many people would stick around with my very specific taste in music, right? But let me know if the music's too loud or too silent. We can change it. And then the next step, I think, is the clone branch. So this thing called this function down here. So we can ignore all of these for the most part. We see which branch do we need to clone, and then we go into this function. Let's jump to this. So now we're in the clone go file, and this is like still, yeah, it's like basically just like invoking the other function. Like this doesn't even have any overhead. Clone context, and then this actually goes into the GoGit repository clone. So we might need to pull that up in a second. But let's check out what this does. It says, okay, we need a reference name for the new branch. Now we want to get the hash of the revision. Where's this actually calling? Because this seems to be already, no, that's the last observed. I see. So this is like, what have we seen before? And now let's see what we'll get afterwards. And then probably this is something where we're going to use this later on. Is like reference anywhere? Yeah, I guess here, but this is another function. Where do we actually compare it? I don't know. But there's the clone with a context, right? Hey Palash, nice to see you around. Thanks for dropping by. Let me know if you have any questions. Currently, we're looking at the Argo CD project and like diving into its functionality. And as you can see, like there's like parts of Argo, or like this is actually Flux in the background that is used by Argo, the way I understand it. And you can see like pretty drastic spikes every minute. Let's see if we can refresh this. Yeah, now it's like super obvious. So maybe we can do something about those spikes. I don't know yet. We'll find out. But yeah, like this is what we'll look at. Where's my mouse? Jeez. All right. So the last observed is used to exit early if the main branch has no new commits in the remote. Interesting, but like I think that makes sense. Where do we actually get the new? Where do we get the new? Because this is like before the cloning with a context, right? So do we already like check what like the upstream Git repository has? Check if previous revision has changed before an attempt to clone. So like, where's this function? Plumbing. Where does plumbing come from? Plumbing, go git. I guess it's the other. We'll have to like look at the go git. So like all of this is still the same repository. All right, let's pull it up. Version 5. Can we find the tag? Version 5. Let's just take this one. Plumbing. And then we're looking for a new branch reference name. Use search. Because like this, to me, at least doesn't look like this is doing a network request, right? Right, but like how do we know that we don't need to clone, because there might be something that has changed upstream? No, like just looking locally at the thing, like we can't do anything, because also what we're doing, what Flux is doing is like a shallow clone, right? So we only have one commit in the clone, I think. That's if I understand correctly, shallow clone git. It just uses like the shallow reject shallow, yeah, depth clone history truncated to a specific number of commits. So we pass the one, then yeah. Okay, interesting. So you basically do a git ls remote to check if the head of the branch has changed. Okay, so that would mean though that this, I can't figure out where my mouse is today. So this actually does a network request then, or what? Where does the get remote head, I guess, is what this is. Transform revision. Last of these all seem like these functions seem to just do things locally, right? So I'm just wondering where, like, yeah, get remote head seems like it's actually doing a network request. Yeah. Does it? New remote, list context, filter refs. Yeah, but like I would assume this does like a network request to get like the head. Yeah, okay. The remote head is what you want. Yeah. Got it. Okay. So only if that changed, then we need to clone, which is interesting because like I don't think our repository changes that often, right? So if we go to demo deployment, I think this is what this should be cloning for the most part. And actually, let's just pull this. Let me see if there's anything in here that I don't want to share first, but I don't assume that's the case. Flux system image, which one is it? Whoops. Image automation controller. Yeah, this seems fine to share. So we have this. Let's just do this again. Flux automation controller. I'm wondering if this has like the Git repo URL. Watch all namespaces, enable leader election. Or is this actually coming, like how does this component get the, how does this component get the name of the repository? Through some CRD? Yeah, I'm learning Flux and Argo on the side here, so bear with me. But yeah, regardless of that, like this is the repository that we are like deploying from. So this is what it like should grab and see if there's not anything new. So this didn't change in the last 2 hours, right? Like it changes quite frequently because we also have it like automated with like the FluxCD bot, as you can see. Okay, so there is Sanskar, super helpful today. Yes, there's an image update automation CRD. Okay, got it. Let me pull this up. kubectl get CRD, and then image update automation. Okay, so you just grab the name of this thing, and then we look at the actual. Okay. Yeah, here we can see the every minute. So I don't know if like something, the spikes will not show up on the source controller. Okay. I mean, the spikes show up on the image updater, on the image update, image automation controller. That's what it's called. Read and then speak. So this is where we see the spikes. But like it almost seems like regardless of what like the upstream head says, right? It'll just clone the thing, because that's what we're seeing in every single spike here. We can see this. We can see it does an actual clone. Reset sparsely, reset work tree. So I'm wondering how is this possible, right? Like it seems that either like something in the code where we do the where we do all of this, that we still clone even though it's not really necessary, or some other thing. So we do say get the new reference name of the branch. The image automation controller doesn't use that optimization. Why wouldn't it use that? Because like the way I'm reading this, we're like in the clone branch file of the clone go. So clone branch line 43. That yeah, I mean that's No, wait, I'm on the wrong, this one. Yeah, line 43. So it should look at at all of this, no? Why wouldn't it check the get remote head? Just by reading the code. I didn't read any of the docs or anything. I don't know if they're like docs that are like this deep into the code, but commit object. Yeah, this I don't see how we get to this point. This should be, I want enter the if condition if the last observed object is blank, which it is for image update automation. Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. Like this one back here, right? So I'm wondering why that is. Like, is it just not happening, or is there like a specific reason? I'm wondering now. Add support for clone, no pin clones. That seems slightly related. Aha, here we go. Commit pin clones do not support the use of last revision to shortcut the clone operation. This means specifically for libgit2 that full clones are executed, causing higher resource consumption. This sparkled as part of CNCF thread in which a user reported the source controller hitting 6,000% CPU saturation and 3,600% memory saturation with the default resources and requests limits. That resource consumption was observed with 57 resources. Most are pinned to a specific Git hash. The implementation could follow a similar logic for the checkout for branches. Interesting. Seems like looking at the profiles in Parka, we saw like, well, something seems interesting, right? And I've never like even looked at like GitHub issues, GitHub pull requests, anything, just like purely looking at the profiles here. And this is super cool to see that apparently this is something that already is being investigated. So part of this, so this was August 26th. Oh, okay, I see. This is just like adding this to this like epic or whatever. So I think we can potentially look at the linked issue, or like what was that, like, yeah, just like this code, and maybe see if we can get something like this working. Before that, I quickly need to turn myself off and then take care of my running nose for a second. I feel like there are allergies again. Like, I don't know. At least I'm receptive to allergies. So give me just like 10 seconds. Here we go again. That code is outdated. Which code? Sorry. Like this, yeah, probably this code that I'm looking at, right? Like this is like some commit from a long time ago. It doesn't even exist anymore. The entire thing was deleted. So yeah, that's the source controller. I see. Wait, so you're saying like not only the code that this issue linked towards to? Like, hello, bye. Thank you. So not only is this outdated, that the issue linked to the code, but like, is the entire system, like the entire image automation thing, outdated? Image automation controller, is that like outdated because there's a source controller now? Is that correct? Yeah, the issue is also outdated. Okay. So we're profiling an entirely outdated application. Should we just upgrade our Argo CD and then be happy? That would also be an interesting episode of Let's Profile. Well, you just gotta update your software. That's the actual way to go about it. No, but like we wanna like look at how to make things better, right? Like let's look at the CNCF. It's a Slack thing. Yeah, I don't want to read Slack now. And open my thing. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, no, you're not. Thanks, by the way. That's super helpful for all the context. Yeah. No, you're not. Source controller and image automation controller are two different controllers. Okay, with different purposes. Yeah. Okay, got it. So just like the code that the issue links to, like like this code doesn't exist on the main branch anymore. So we probably want to come up with something where we can go about, like, if this is like empty or whatever, or like we need to get this somehow. It's just not like closely related to this code because that was outdated. But this does like a list of the remote of that branch and then sees if this is like, if there's a last revision and the current revision is like what it like fetches from upstream, and then only if that changes we wanna look at this. All right, anyway, I'm definitely going to, for now, clone the code first of all. Git clone the FluxCD package, and I might need my YubiKey. Don't want to be careful to not unplug my other USB-C thing because everything is kind of plugged into my Mac through that. All right, here we go. There we go, FluxCD package. And then I think I want to open this on here. Oop. FluxCD. How did it know that like I want FluxCD? That was weird. All right. So we are looking at Git, and then the go Git clone go file. Okay, this is like running getting the dependencies real quick. Cold coffee is great in the summer. Anyone not into cold coffee? Anyone hasn't tried cold coffee? I tried cold coffee for the first time in a couple of years ago, and I couldn't go back in the summer now. Did the music stop? Why did the music stop? Oh no, it's just super silent. Okay, got it. It seemed like it stopped. Again, let me know if the music's too loud or too quiet. Maybe you wanna update? Nice. I was just having cold coffee. Yeah, cheers. Cheers to that. What type of cold coffee did you have? like a ice pour over, cold brew, or just like ice cream. Right, that did the trick. I don't know why I didn't do this automatically. All right, go clone branch. This is where we're at. So again, let's look at all of these because now I can like more quickly jump around to reference name. So this is like the head prefix with this just, yeah, refs heads. All right, cool. So this will be the branch name, and yeah, just like refs head slash and then the branch name. So that's the reference we have. And then git transform revision of the last observed commit. So this is kind of where I suppose it's always like an empty string. So last observed commit holds the last observed commit of a hash of, wait a sec, where am I? I shouldn't read documentation and chat at the same time. Last observed commit holds the last observed commit hash of a Git repository if provided the clone operation will compare it with the head commit of the branch or tag, as configured via the checkout strategy in the remote repository. If they match, cloning will be skipped and a non-concrete commit will be returned, which can be verified using isConcreteCommit. This functionality is not supported when using a Semver range or a commit to checkout. So I guess it has to be a branch name or of some sort, but that's fine because that's what we have. And that's also what we should be able to pass from the last run. So this is like on which object, like clone config. So clone config repository. Yeah, this is like the thing we're implementing, right? This like repository client is what the other client that we looked at is implementing. All right. Now, where is this like set and why might this be empty? I guess this is taking the last observed commit and transforms it to a revision. So transforms a legacy revision to a string, revision string into a new revision string. It accepts the following formats. So this is what we're most likely interested in, which are then transformed into a new format. Okay, cool. Seems reasonable. So it doesn't do much except like transforms it. But yeah, so this one is already empty, I guess. Now, where is this referenced? We ever set this anywhere? I guess that's the crux of it, right? Why do we even check this if it's never anywhere? This is clone tag, and then this is clone ref name. Okay, so they're just like 3 different clone operations, one for branch, one for tag, one for ref name, but they all do kind of the same thing. So what did this code do that we like briefly looked at? So this is what I'm thinking. Yeah, so I guess even then, like if we like compare it with like something upstream, we still want to keep the previous last observed commit around for a bit. I'm wondering where this might be possible to do. So the clone branch thing gets like the opts from above passed into it, and then the config is from here, and that gets passed into this, and then the utils. That's interesting. I guess, yeah, looking at the, where's my browser at? I want this number 1. going back to the profile, I think we can see that this clone comes from the image update automation reconciler. So this is what we'll probably need to change as well, such that this keeps track of the previous run. Can you share the link to the profile, or did you run Parker locally? This is actually running the demo Parker devel thing, which is we run 2 demo instances of Parker. So the first one is Parker dev, which is always running the latest release. And then the devil one is always running the latest main branch. But that's the only one, the devil development one is the only one where we like scrape these profiles as well, because the other one just ingests Parker agent profiles. But yeah, I can share the link like so. You might need to, if you're seeing this later on, you might need to, that's a long link in the chat now. You might need to click on search just to get like newer timestamps to change the time range, but I can also just take this and share it on pprof.me. So what is this? Like, let's stream. No, let's profile. I don't know why I sometimes say let's stream. Technically not incorrect, but it's let's profile image automation controller cloning or something like that. All right, so here it is for later on. If you ever need this outside the stream, if you ever want to grab a URL, look at the thing, you can even do this. URL. Woo! For all of those people that aren't at the computer, but you still want to get the pprof.me. All right. Thanks for pointing that out. So we have it kind of like for later on. And also feel free to point anything out you can find in the profile that you can find additionally. All right, so I wanna say we need to clone the image automation controller, right? Yep. Let's drill down into this again. So holding shift in the UI, the tooltip stops, and I can say I want to look at the manager container, and more specifically at, where is it? I'm looking at a different profile type. Ah, that's why. There we go. Instance. All right. So we want to look at this one, GitHub FluxCD image automation controller. Again, holding down shift, I can go in here, copy the function name, and then I'm in the source code rather quickly. I'm really curious to see the code in this one now. Let's open this one up. Source, what? GitHub, Flux, and this one. So now we want to see want to see the reconcile function, which is in this file. So it is in the internal controller image update automation controller, line 101. Super helpful to just even know where to start, right? I like that so much. And we even had like, and I hope one day we can continue with that, like some heuristic where you could even click on this and it would open it up on GitHub and stuff. Like, I think that would be still super cool to have at some point. So looking at internal controller, this thing. Let's do go more tidy, grab all dependencies. Here we go. Right, which line did I say? 101? Yeah. All right, cool. That's the reconcile loop. Super cool. And coincidence. Funnily enough, like just the other days, I've been working on the same reconciliation function for Pura and for like adding the validation webhook there. So this seems super familiar. All right, so we have the image image update automation. That's the CRD that one of you mentioned earlier, right? Yeah, I think it was Sanskar as well. So that's the CRD we're looking at. So we're going to see if something in the namespace exists. Something about finalizers. Now I'm wondering where are we calling the clone function? So this must be, yeah, this is like the 101 is where the reconcile function is. Some inline function or closure. And then I don't know where this is, but we'll be able to find it. Get the Git repository, get the namespace. That's a long reconciliation loop. Does a lot of things. At least compared to what Pura does, which is just create another CRD, put that on the Kubernetes API, and then that's that. So this is a lot more that it does. All right, this seems familiar. So there's the new client, the new Git client. We close the defer, and then we have the clone here, and here are the options. So I'm wondering if that's the thing we want to tackle. Essentially keeping the previous reference around, right? Git client clone. The only question is, does this reconciliation loop or something, does that have like a state? The automation reconciler, does that have state? There's like something called features, no cross namespace ref. So I think we might need some map where we say per namespace, or not even per map, but we want to have this per custom resource, right? So basically per, where was this? Further up. Yeah, the automation readiness. Here we go. So basically per this thing, we want to keep track across reconciliation loops. So like the controller gets scheduled by like the controller runtime every so often. And then if we are successful at the end of the reconciliation loop, we want to keep this reference around for future reconciliation loops, a list of the Git repository upstream. And if that is the same, we can ignore it. And only if it changes, we actually want to clone, right? I think that's the way I would go about it. But yeah, any thoughts on that before we kind of go further in and see if we can implement something here? Also, feel free to comment and call me out in chat. If you think that's the wrong approach, let me know. I'm just gonna see if we can build the controller locally and then somehow push it to our cluster and see what happens. I think that might be pretty cool, because this should be easy enough to do, because there's Docker push, Docker deploy, so it's like all kubebuilder standardized makefile targets. Any objections to basically have the controller keep track of the previous state? I'm thinking like maybe we have it not exclusively on the inside of here, inside the struct, but even write it to the status of the into the status of the thing, of the image update automation CRD. Maybe we can write the status with the. Isn't that exactly what we're looking for? Last push commit. Hey Nicholas, late today? That's fine. Thanks for coming around and seeing what we're up to. We're looking at FluxCD, Argo CD, and kind of CI/CD systems. And what we're like looking at are these every minute or so spikes where Argo will just like in a reconciliation loop in Kubernetes just like clone Git repositories, and then the cloning of the Git repository is this huge spike where we all of a sudden take like 600 milliseconds to clone the repository. I guess most of this is also like, is it? I was gonna say that most of this is networking, but it doesn't even seem to be related to that. It's just like resetting the work tree and like doing things with Git in the background. So yeah, thanks for dropping by regardless. The spikes seem to come every 1 or 2 minutes, and cloning seems to be taking most of the resources, according to the Icicle graph. So is this repro updated that frequently that it is needed to clone every few minutes? No, it's not, right? Like that's exactly the crux of it. Like this thing is like at most every couple of hours when we like during the week there's more activity on Parka itself, and you can see like this like every couple of hours there's an update here, and then during the week work days during the week like there's more activity, and like the main branch and the devil Parka gets more frequently updated, so there's more activity there. But like even then, right, like we don't like every 2 minutes we don't have a new Parka commit. So that's exactly the idea. Like let's not clone every 1 or 2 minutes, but maybe we can do something a bit more lightweight, such as looking at the upstream Git repository and doing a list remote, which is what this issue also mentioned. Maybe we want to be inspired by this snippet here, where we just like look at the remote and list. I think this is list as well, the branch, and then we can see which revision that is. So it's a bit like doing an HTTP request with a couple of bytes or kilobytes to get like a branch revision back compared to like downloading a zip file, right? So that's kind of the idea. And only if the upstream branches revision changes, we want to actually go in and clone the repository, because that's, as you can see, a lot more expensive. And I think that, funnily enough, is exactly what this GitHub issue is all about. So that was pretty funny earlier to find this GitHub issue, not knowing about it, but here we are. And that's like almost a year ago. So that would be pretty cool to contribute back upstream. Yeah, so I think I'm so confused by my desktops today. Let's put this right next to the browser so I don't need to like jump around so much. So I think let's look at the called image update automation CRD and the status of it. So we can see the last push commit being this thing. Now, there's something about like Kubernetes status objects that I just the other day read up on. So let's find this queue builder, where like the documentation said like you don't want to rely too much on the status, I think. Let's find this real quick. Yeah, I think it was actually in the actual Kubernetes documentation, not in the queue builder. Kubernetes sub resource status. So there's something status down here, if I remember correctly. Status sub resource, status sub resource. No, all right, it doesn't mention it. So it was in the queue builder one then. Let's check this out again. Status, sorry for jumping around so much. Where did I read this? Like it said like every reconciliation, the status should be updated from what the state of the world is, and you shouldn't rely on anything else except the state of the world. So I'm wondering if we should like within the reconciliation loop read the status of the previous loop and potentially use exactly this last push commit from the status to pass it down into the clone step, right? So that's the idea. And if I also remember this correctly, we might be able to, because like the request is what we're using, we get the namespace name, and then we retrieve this like image update automation custom resource. So on here, we actually might have exactly that. We might have the last push commit. So we if that's not empty, why not pass it down into the clone step, right? I think that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it, of going about it right now. So like, where's the clone the repository? That's just the debug. Yeah. These are the client options. Okay, then we create the new client, clone config. And I guess that this is exactly where I would do this. Like if I were to say auto status last push commit, not empty. So this, just double checking, 7BAE. And if we go to our repository, does that correlate? Do we see this? 7BAE. Yeah, so that's exactly this commit, which is great. Which means like this is actually the commit char we can use, right? So I'm thinking that should be okay. It's an optional optimization that we're using the status for. So I'm hoping that A, this is fine to do, and B, that getting the object back, the status from the previous run is still populated, right? So that we can actually read this. Yeah, exactly. So that's what's happening right now. Like every time, every minute, which also is like configured through this object, you can see there's like the interval. Every minute, this will just clone the repo. It does a shallow clone, so it only clones the last commit. So is it really a clone? I don't know. Like if it's just one commit, but yeah, just like gets the latest commit, and then it still clones everything, right? It just it still pulls down all the code, which is not necessary for then afterwards figuring out, well, actually nothing changed. We might have not needed to do this in the first place. So let's first check if something happened, if something changed, and only if it really actually changed, then we update. But if it didn't, then let's not even clone. Like there's no need to. Right, so we know this potentially isn't empty, so we can then say the options, and then the last observed commit is exactly this. Yeah. So now we might have that when we pass it into the clone, and then we can see, oh, we have a previous commit. Now we can compare it before even doing the clone. But why is the shallow clone spiking it up so much? It shouldn't take that much more time. I mean, it's still doing a clone, so it doesn't only compare what the current commit SHA is, but it actually pulls down the code and then realizes, oh, this is the same SHA that we've previously seen, or it doesn't even realize that. Let's check the code. It might not even realize that. It might just be, okay, we got something in the clone, so let's use it. So this is like the thing we're trying to use. And to be able to use this, we need to pass down this like last observed commit string, which is exactly what I just did, right? Like we want to get so in the controller that's calling this clone code, in the controller we want to see if we have a status with the last push commit. We want to push that. We want to pass it down into this function, so that this thing isn't empty, and we can actually use this code where it fetches the remote head. So this will do a way simpler HTTP GET request of some sorts, and just see what is like what's the current SHA on the repository, and then if that's the same, we don't need to clone, right? So this is exactly this. Like if the hash, and if they are the same, then we return this function. That's the way I'm reading this. And only if it's not the same, like if this isn't true, then we ignore all of this, and then we go further down, and then we say, okay, now we want to do a git clone with a depth of 1, so a shallow clone, and then we go about doing all of this, where we like pull down the where we clone the repository, where we like check it out, and then we get the commit, etc., etc. I was under the impression that it might be a full clone. Yeah, that would be even worse, right? Depending on the upstream repository that we're cloning, right? Like for this one that we're using, where is it? This only has, I think, only in quotes 400 commits or so. Yeah, But imagine this being a bigger project. Like imagine, I don't know, Prometheus for the last like 6 years or so using such a repository. This probably would have like over 10,000 commits to it. And then like every minute cloning 10,000 commits would just be insane. So I think that's already a really nice optimization where FluxCD only clones the latest commit on the repository. But yeah, like even that might be overhead, given that we might not even need to do that. So I'm hoping that we might be able to just adding these like 3 lines of code. We could still build the controller and then deploy it as an image to our cluster and see if that changes anything. I do need to make sure to cross compile because I'm on Mac and I do need a Linux binary. So probably we want to use, how do we build this? Let's see if make test. We can run tests while I read how to. I guess we could also run this against the cluster, but I do want to have it like in the cluster and see if something changed. So I want to have the binary and then a Docker container. So we can use Docker build, which uses all of this. But which is where does the binary come from? It uses in the install. Why am I not seeing this? Let's search for go build. There we go. Easy enough. Search for go build. What is this test doing now? Iced coffee is so great. All right, this isn't fast enough. Let's just do this. Whatever. Yeah, and this is not building Linux binaries, but I think that's fine. We can just use this one, copy that over, and say the Go operating system is Linux, and then the Go architecture is AMD64. So now we should get a Linux AMD64 binary out of this, which might take a second because it needs to compile all of the dependencies. It doesn't have that in cache. All right. All right, I zoned out. Where is the binary? Manager. What's it called? I know it. Build bin manager. Okay. Build bin manager. Cool. Yeah, Linux. Statically linked. Now let's put this into a container. And for that, this time around, let's actually start Docker up. Good. Docker build. Is this using the correct binary? Go blah blah blah. Or does it actually compile it in the? I think it builds it in the container. Okay, whatever. Multiple platform features currently not supported for Docker driver. Please switch to a different driver. I only want one platform. Can I change it somehow? Yeah, perfect. Just remove all of the other platforms. Waiting for Docker build on the screen. That's fun. Any other questions, Palash? You seem to really dig into the code, etc. I'm happy to answer anything that's still unclear or something along those lines while we're waiting for the build. All right, at least all the dependencies, etc. have been pulled. So now we're building the actual Go binary. And here we go. All right, I might wanna, how do I push this? I guess I log into Quay, off screen. No questions yet. No questions yet. I got distracted for a minute. That's fine. That's cool. No worries. What did I? Why am I suddenly need to use the Red Hat SSO to go into my Quay? It's been a minute since I signed into Quay. I can't use GitHub authentication anymore on Quay. I only have that, I think. Yeah, I don't want to figure that one out right now. So let's use Docker Hub then. I'm just logging into Docker Hub off stream. It's also been a while since I logged into Docker Hub. All right, so creating a repository. I'm gonna take this one, call it Metal image automation controller. Let's profile stream image. It is public and create. All right, so let's do this. Docker tag. What was the name of this? Docker tag. And then take this from Docker Hub, and then I never know if I have like multiple attempts in front of me, so I oftentimes just call it like, I don't know, just use the date or whatever, or just like a number. So let's call it, let's profile 1. Docker push. Let's see if I'm logged in. I have no idea. Seems like I'm logged in. Cool. That seemed to have worked. Yep. Nice. In case anyone wants to pull down the image, it's on Docker Hub publicly if you wanna check it out. Let's go on the screen and then, okay, I don't seem to have a terminal. Go into our cluster here, and then let's edit the image automation controller. We need to somehow remember this part, and I don't know how nice of a citizen I am for the entire Argo CD environment that we're running on the cluster right now. Hopefully it doesn't like instantly get overridden, which I think might actually be a good thing if that happens, but yeah, let's see. So I want to pick this for a second. Somehow, yeah. Where do I put this so we don't forget? I guess I can use like a Scratch file and paste it in here. Sweet. All right. And then on the other side, I want to use this image. So copy that over from Docker Hub. And delete this. And before I do that, let's check out our Parker here. All right. I'm not sure if the instance label will still work because the instance is most likely going to change given that has the pod, the replica set name and the pod name. I think, yeah, this is perfect. Job is image automation controller. All right, great. Let's go here and save this. And look at the Flux system namespace. Hopefully that's starting. Terminating. All right, that's gone. Is it actually, does this thing notice? Yeah, something's out of sync. All right, that's cool. Yeah, it auto instantly recognizes something's broken here, or not broken, but out of date. Let's see if that. All right, it doesn't seem to like instantly overwrite this, but it might be a nice and easy way of like returning back to the actual state we want. I can just sign in and probably hit sync, and then we're back to that. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so this I think is fine because that is it like the first run where it doesn't have like a previous commit SHA on here, potentially. Could be. Then again, it should have like a status from the previous runs regardless, right? But yeah, now we can see like nicely like the instance was something 7C something, and now it is over here 55D. So we definitely are comparing like the previous and new images. But yeah, we are still cloning all of it. Let's see if there's another spike coming up. Yep, there's another spike coming up. How are we going to deal with that? I think I wanna, for now, just print out the status object into standard out, and then also print out the options that we're passing into the clone step, and just deploy that. Otherwise, yeah, maybe it's actually nice for development to not run to scale down the deployment, run the controller locally, see if we can see things being populated, etc. On the machine, and then afterwards build the image, deploy that, and see if it like changes in Parker as well. So let's maybe for now actually scale down. kubectl scale the deployment in the FluxCD name system namespace, and then we want this one to be 0 replicas. Right, so that's going away. But yeah, seems like maybe the status isn't populated from the previous run, which would make our lives a bit more tricky. I don't know if there's like any documentation or anything where it says like, yeah, no, this will never, this is always empty and you need to set this to the things you want to set it to, the status, and then update the status at the end of the reconciliation loop. I'm wondering if we can see it by looking into the controller. Controller runtime is calling the reconcile loop. Where does the request object come from? Does it say anything about the status? Creating, updating, deleting. So all the good CRUD stuff. Nothing with status is mentioned. All right, let's just run this and see if what the status object looks like, right? So we can like write smack bang at the start of all of this. Like, what's the logger this is using? Log. I guess we can do a log info. Status, and then we don't have the auto yet. Okay, so this needs to be after this. Right, and then we wanted to have the, where's the clone step? Should be here, should be here, should be here. Where is it? Here we go. Log info cloning options. Options. Okay, and there was like a makefile run. Yeah, this one. Go run. Log level runs against the configured Kubernetes cluster in kubeconfig. So this is probably going to fail because I don't set this by default, but let's see what happens when we run make run. Is it compiling? I guess it's compiling, right? Yeah, there we go. Unable to retrieve the complete list of APIs. So yeah, that's what I expected, because essentially what we need to do is to go into kube, and then we wanna rename this and then get the Parker demo to be called config. So now if we run anything like this, yep, that works, and that breaks because Now I want to use that other thing, right? So running this again, the Parker demo kubeconfig is the default one, so it might work. Yeah, there we go. Okay. What number of arguments passed as a key value pairs for logging? Whoops. Controller group. Ignored key. I guess we need to fix that. There it says status, but can we see anything? Reconciliation ID. I guess we want to fix the calling of the, but like info base temp spec blah blah blah. Okay, let's just call this cloning options and then put this into options. Where was the other one? Up here. Let's just have status twice, whatever. Make run. Last observed commit. That seems nice. Okay, so we should be able to get this from the status, right? And that's actually the cloning step, which is even better because now we have like the options and we're passing the last observed commit down into this thing. Okay, that's awesome. I think we can work with this. So why isn't it working then? What I want to do is use, I think we can just run the main function straight from Goland and actually use the debugger and then put a breakpoint right here. So hopefully we can see what's happening in the debugger. Let's profile just became let's debug. And then once we're done debugging, we're going back to let's profiling. And we are also 1 hour and 40 minutes in, which is crazy. To me, it doesn't seem that long yet. Okay, so now, again, looking at this, we have the status down here, and there's the there's the last push commit. So we can use that. We can go all the way to the cloning step and jump here, and then do a step, do a step. We have a context here. On here, validate the URL. Seems fine. We want to check out the branch, the main branch. Great. Go into this function. Now what do we get? We get the ref head main, and then we do have the options. We have the last observed commit, right? So now we're transforming the revision. And we seem to not have an empty last observed. I think that's the biggest change to what we had before, because this, as we can see, is populated now, and it's actually we don't have to have any state because we can just read it from the image update automation custom resources status. That sentence was a mouthful. And then let's see if we can get the remote head. The remote head says unable to list remote for context deadline exceeded. I guess I saw that coming. Let's put the breakpoint here, call it quits on this reconciliation loop. And I actually saw that coming here because we're using this clone step, and there's like probably something like 5 seconds or something, but debugging through this took just way longer, right? So maybe we want to do something like 10 time minute and stop the process here and start it again. All right, and we're already back. Go into this, we get this, we get the digest. All right, great, and we're in this one. Let's see if this succeeds this time around. That seems more like it. No timeout because the context has been canceled. Now let's get the hash. Okay, and this is probably, my assumption is this is like slightly different or something in the way we compare these. So this is like the short reference is main at SHA-1 and then the hash, and then last observed is, yeah, there's something missing here, right? Can you see it? Like the main at is missing, and this is like just SHA-1. So I'm wondering, we probably just want to use the SHA digest. Is that correct? Can even put this in here, digest. Yeah, so this is what we want. We don't want to concatenate this with the branch name. And then where's this used? Just for the, we built this for the thing, but it doesn't even work. And I suppose the last commit reference, what we have in the status is just a commit SHA. So I think, yeah, I wanna go this way around where we say, let's not clone, let's not change this to append the branch name, but just compare the hash digest and the last observed, and then that should be good, and then that should actually work. However, we are in the image automation controller, and we need to use the other image, the other Flux package repo. So I'm wondering if we should use Go workspaces. So go work initialize, go work use the current repository, and then what we want to use is this one, right? So this one, go in there, get the current directory, and then go back to image automation controller and say go work use this one. So now what we're doing is, instead of using the version that like the Go module file specifies, we're actually going for that module. We're going to use the directory that's on the computer. That should update though, why doesn't it? Doesn't like it. It should have this. Let's see. Go more tidy. What's happening? Why aren't you happy? Go work. What am I missing? Go work use this one. Yeah, Go workspaces are really nice for these kind of things. It overwrote the thing again? What the heck? Isn't package like a Go module on its own? It doesn't have like a Go mod file. If we go into the Git one here, does that have? Yeah, that's okay. So that's why it doesn't work. We need to say, because the package folder isn't a Go module, but like apparently all the subfolders are Go modules. So the Git one is a submodule, is a Go module. So now if we say this, that's a Go module, and that actually works. Okay, and it updated the thing. So now once we build the binary, it uses like everything from the Go mod file, except for this one Go module, which is actually going to be compiled off of our folder that we have on the computer. So now what we can do is open that folder up in the editor, and we can do exactly this and say, which one was that? Take the hash digest and compare that against the last observed. And that should succeed. That should succeed now, but yeah, again, we need to use that in the image comparison thing controller. Close this one out, and then we can now use we could use make run, or we can just like, let's run the debugger again, and it should now compile it with the changed package we have. Yeah, so here we are again, and as you can see, like all the way down here, it shows where you are, and usually it shows like the GitHub blah blah blah, and then repository, and then which version, etc., and then which file. But now you can see clearly like this is on my machine, right? So like even Goland is now looking at like the source from that folder. So we get this, we do the get remote head, we get the short ref, and then the short, wait, that's incorrect. That's still outdated. Yeah, no, this is incorrect. This should not use package mod. So why is that? Okay, maybe run go mod tidy. I was just explaining the path down here and it was incorrect. That's hilarious. Okay, but this seems, yeah, this is still correct. Is the source that we're looking at is in there, right? Yeah, package git. Okay. I don't know why this compiled with the old code. This is also still with the package mod. It should say like user metalmatze source GitHub and so on and so forth, and not this version. I do make manager. Main module does not contain package. Is that like a module on its own? API v1 beta 1? No. Yeah, it is right here. Okay, so do we need to explicitly say we want to use this? Interesting. I haven't experienced that yet, where you have like a Go module within the same repository. Ooh. Why did that fail? Go mod tidy. I guess I wanna just say go work use and then API. One? Yeah, API. Okay. That seems more like it. Yeah, I guess that's correct. If workspaces keep causing more trouble, you can simply push changes to a fork of package repo and pull that version as a dependency. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what we used to do, right? Like, but I think since like Go 119 or so, like that's exactly the thing that you want to avoid pushing to a remote and then like having that as a module. Or I think there was like some way of like using a replace statement in Go modules to point to a local repo, to a local folder. But yeah, thankfully now it worked, right? It's just a bit tricky because I didn't know that the API folder is actually a module on its own, which might be nice for others to consume it that way without like pulling in all of that code. They can just depend on the API package, but apparently we need to like explicitly state that we want to use that now as well. Okay, let's see if that also works now. The debugging thingy. It still uses package go mod blah blah blah. That's weird. That usually works for me. I might just push it then. Yikes. Run after build. No, this seems fine. Why wouldn't it? That I can't figure it out right now. What if I delete this folder? Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm going to do exactly what you suggested. It usually works for me, which is odd. Like the Go workspaces thing. Git fork. I don't have hub on here, which makes it a bit more manual. Then where is it? Fork it. I also like to sometimes do this. Okay, there we go. And then we want to say, yep. Yeah, but it won't work for you now because you're streaming. Yeah, exactly. It's like the demo gods, right? It's like doing a talk on stage and then it just doesn't work. It always works. Not on this demo. That's why usually I have like backup slides with like screenshots and stuff for demos when I give talks now as well. Yeah, that happens. Anyway, it usually works for me. Yeah, I wanna change. Just do like git clone compare. Oh. Git compare the SHAs before clone. Not the best commit message ever, but it does the job. Add metal amount of fork, and then this, and then push this git clone, which actually pushing this might make it even easier for building the container where it like compiles it in the Docker container, because otherwise that might be weird, and I would need to like mount the Go workspace, etc., etc. Let's get rid of this workspace, and then we want to go to the Go mod file, and yeah, I guess this like still a replace. Give me a break. Where's the? Shouldn't it be in here? Package. Flux package APIs matter, I guess I'm just gonna say replace github.com/fluxcd/package/git with github.com/metalmatze/fluxcd package at git clone compare. What's the syntax here? I never can remember this. It's literally just this empty space. Unresolved dependency. Why is it unresolved though? So the main. I know this is in the internal controller, and then there's like git. Where are the ops? There we go. Git client. Go git. Okay, so go git. This is what we want, right? But that should be the GitHub Flux package git dependency. Let's just build this. Something's wrong, yeah. Not like this. Then it resolves it. Tidy. Watch me struggle using Go modules every single day. Okay, time to Google this. Go mod replace. Replace directive, go mod files, replace directive. Yeah, so replace with something. I think the first import in the directive is wrong. You have package git. It should just be package. Package is the repo, right? Yes and no, because like that was the problem with the Go mod as well. Like this is the repo, but git is the actual Go modules. So if you look into this, like there's no Go mod file in the root of the repository, but then if you go into git, there's the mod file, and then this says like that's the name of the module. So that should be the exact same that we use over here. So if we say replace, yeah, that should line up, right? So I think that's fine. But like the branch name is just incorrect, and we want to do. Do we need to put the version in as well? So we need to do. Yeah, again, like I don't see this in here, which is so weird. Where's this dependency? Like I can see packages, main, whatever. Maybe let's just use the same. Must match format path version, not path. Yeah, that's what I had. Go build. Okay, that worked. All right, again, let's try the debugger. But we're getting to a 2-hour mark, so I want to wrap it up, but we're so close to getting this done. It still uses the... That is because like this is also a submodule or what? Because looking at the import path of this clone, it's like FluxCD package git and then go git. All right, I'm trying this. Git, go git. And then git, go git. Go git. And that's probably also why the Go modules didn't work. It's still the incorrect one. So this one, yeah, this one still has its own. Yikes, so many like Go modules in this. I guess it's good, but then again, like it's hard to replace something with this. And I'm still wondering why it doesn't show up in here. Okay, so this. Nope. This is also not this. This is... Okay, latest. It's actually, what does it usually say? V0.12.1. 0.12.1, and then the target is this. All of this. Maybe this works. Geez, it still has that. Why is that? I'm annoyed. Can't you just go mod init inside the root and push that and then pull the dep again to make the arrow go away? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. I can try. Yeah, like usually if that works, it like replaces the branch name with the commit char, right? At least that's what that's what I've seen so far whenever I did something like this. For 10 minutes, we're struggling with this. Right. No. Yes. Yeah, why is it like unresolved? I think APIs meta. It's really weird that like the thing we're trying to override isn't showing up in here. Does this like have... Oh, there's no other Go mods inside the internal controller thing. And then we are running off of the main file in the root. We're editing this Go modules file. Wait, we aren't editing this Go module. Which Go module file are we editing the entire time? We are editing the Go API. That's it. How did I open the incorrect Go mods file? Okay, so here we should be able to find, yeah, there we are. There it is. We're just like in the incorrect Go modules file the entire time. Oh my god. Yeah, so that seems good. Please do this. And I don't think we need the version here. Yeah, now you can see it also replaced the branch name and stuff with the exact, or like it changed it from the just the commit chart to this thing, where if we were to pass in the branch name, it would also convert it to the same thing. Okay, now we need to run tidy. Go back here and restart the debugger. That was way harder than expected. Oh. Yeah, and now we don't have a breakpoint anymore because like we are using a different file. So we need to go into our update controller, find the clone. Guess we can also just have this. And now the next time this is called, we can like go into the other new files. But the underlying file has changed because we now succeeded replacing this. So the breakpoint is not on that file anymore. Let's speed it up by just restarting. Yeah. Okay, finally we can see that this is using our fork. Right, fetching the commit jar from upstream, we can see everything's there. And now we have like the hash digest, which is this, and we are comparing that against the last observed, which should succeed. Yeah, so now we're in this, and now we're saying, okay, we can safely ignore this and we can return it already here, and we can call it quits early, and we don't need to clone any of this. Right. If Go modules weren't so confusing, this might have been even quicker. But here we are. So did we do earlier Docker build? Let's do that. Can also stop the binary locally, and then we need to go into the, let's already scale. Let's not scale it until we have the image available. So we can open that up. Flux automation controller. Actually, let's do that. Let's actually use the current unoptimized version. So we have like old profiles. So how does that work? Do I just press synchronize, please? And now it should, yeah, now it like updates the thing, and we can see the image automation controller starting. Flux, and more specifically, Argo did their job. We can look at the pod of the image automation controller, and we should be seeing that this is also running version 0.35 again. Yeah. So this is Spectral Square 1. This is where we started. But now the good thing is that we have profiles again for all of this, because yeah, we weren't running anything, so we are kind of like also because the Parker development thing doesn't have any persistent storage, it just probably doesn't have any super old. Let's see, we have like super old. Yeah, no, we don't have any like more than 10-15 minute old profiles anymore in this. Okay, while that's starting up, we should be able to build the image. Yes, then let's tag this with like number 2, I guess. I I saw that one coming. Whoop. No, make this bigger. I want to move the camera, the screen, right? Okay, I can't do it. But yeah, there's a number 2 there. Okay, this way it works. And then push the number 2 image. That should be the one that now works. And while that's pushing, let's check back here. We can see, yep, there's the spike, there's the clone again. Okay, great. And then let's go into the deployment and let's take the profile version 2 image. Copy that from Docker Hub. Where is it? There we go. And deploy. Do we still have like the print statements, the logging statements in there, right? I guess that's fine for now, but we should clean that up. Status. Yeah. Last push commit, that's the one. Okay, so now we're running that version. And let's give this just a bit. There we go. There we can see the new thing. And now what we should see is actually, instead of the clone step, we should more often see in here, we should see the like get remote head probably, I would assume, show up, because that's like the most expensive one we're doing now. And then if that succeeds, then we never will see the clone step unless it actually needs to clone it and update it, right? Yeah, I think we can already see like the clone branch just called get remote head list contacts, but this is like 50 milliseconds, whereas this clone branch thing was previously 280 milliseconds, right? So 50, so 280 to 50 is 5-6 times improvement, or we are down to 17-20% of what we previously had to do with this. So yeah, like all of this overhead, all of this entire spike is literally not cloning the entire thing, but like just checking out if there's anything that changed upstream before doing a git clone. I'm really, really happy that we so specifically can see this this drop. Okay, let's check this out. Yep, get remote head. There we go. Instead of the like full clone, we now see get remote head, which is a lot nicer. And then we get the remote head commit SHA and see if that changes. Now what I want to do is potentially merge something. I'm wondering if we can like fake it on the upstream repository here. Just like push an empty commit or something, just to be able to show, well, yeah, if something changes, it still updates it, right? So yeah, I agree with that, right? It's always nice to see a simple change make a substantial impact, and that's the funny thing about profiling. You might not even think, this is like a super, it needs to be super intricate and we need to like dive deep down into code. I guess we did dive deep down into code, but like the profiles make it so obvious that that's the thing we should look at. Yeah. All right, let me actually grab a screenshot of that before the thing is potentially gone. Weird smile for the screenshot. Nice. I'm so stoked about this result. And did I just call it? Oh my god, it's already gone. Already restarted. Yeah, the data is purely in memory, so that's why that happens rather quickly. But yeah, let's go into demo deployments. Check out the main branch, pull down this one. And then let's see, let's give this a second again to get some data back into it. But then if we push something and the then yeah, we can prove that our thing did actually work. So I guess the problem here was that FluxDev did everything right, but since their code was divided between the two repos, they didn't just make use of that. Yeah, I think the code was there. It was just like there was a bug, and then they also didn't take the last commit char from the status object and put it into the options for the cloning. So I think there's like two things, like actually reading back the like optionally reading back the last commit char from the status of the image update custom resource, and then also taking that into the clone step, and there was a bug. That's really it. It was really nice. Gotta go now. Looking forward to a future stream. Yeah, same. Thank you for hanging out and sticking around. See you in a week or two. All right, so we can see there's things happening. We can see the get remote head, which is great. So the super big spikes are gone now. This is like 50 milliseconds in total compared to the 200, 300 milliseconds before. But yeah, we want to prove that the cloning still works. So let's do something like this, I think. Allow empty. And then the message is trigger a clone for demo purposes. And then push that. Cool. So yeah, we can see this thing changed. We should have a new 7BA something, E blah, 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 blah. And then if we look into this, it's kind of funny. There's nothing in here, but it should be enough to like see the clone happening, right? In a minute. And if that's a success, we'll end it there in just a minute or so. Yeah. Wait, did it restart? It looks like a restart. All work is finished. Shutting down. Wait, why does it shut down? Okay, I guess it can shut down because eventually it will see the old status and then see, yep, now we need to do something, and then do an actual clone branch, clone of the branch. But now going forward, it should just like stay relatively low, like here, where it just does the clone branch, but then it does get remote head, and it only does like 50 milliseconds. So this was kind of like a single spike here. Okay, it does it again. Does it update the status though? That might be a bug that I just fix offline then. Yeah, once we have that, there's the status patch merge from the status. Yeah, I think we need to double check that this actually works. But I don't see a reason why it shouldn't. Okay, maybe this was just, I don't know, a race condition. No, it's back. Okay, so maybe the status isn't updated and we need to update the status on that thing. 7BAE, and we currently have 7BAE, and now we have E78. So yeah, something about like updating the status then doesn't work, but I'll do that offline, and then if we do that, if we actually update the status, then it shouldn't like go into now kind of like not updating the old char. So we are constantly seeing a new one. So we need to like update that in the status, and then it should like flatten out again. All right, but I think that's it. Thanks everybody. We are 2 hours and 20 minutes in. Crazy long stream, but yeah, I think it definitely was worth it, and I'm looking forward to taking this and like pushing it upstream. We can end it with a screenshot because now it's broken again, but I know how to fix it. This is really cool. I'm really happy about this. No more 250 millisecond spikes, but every minute it just does like 50 milliseconds, and only if there's an actual update it will do a clone and then do the 250 milliseconds or whatever, but that's like every 2 hours or so, right? Super nice. All right, everybody, have a great, wonderful time until we see each other in the next stream. Feel free to drop by on Twitter, check out Parka itself. It's what we used most of the time today to the profile. It's open source, Apache 2 licensed. You can find it on parka.dev. I don't know anything else. I go about and tweet about our success in the stream on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter /PedalMatze, or also Twitter /PolarSignal. We also have all the Mastodon things, etc. So you can find us there. Yeah, I think that's it for this week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.